Hey, what's going on everyone? Nick Corona here and welcome to my fairly messy garage, but today we're going to be talking about the Brozz 250. Yes, I do also have a Kawasaki KLX over there, but we're going to get to that later. Today I just want to tell you guys how I feel about the Brozz, and we're going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. Alright guys, so first we've got our tires. Now, when I got my Brozz, it actually came with the hybrid tires, so they're like not knobby, they're kind of made to go on the street and off the road. I just didn't really like them because they were just basically garbage off-road, and I mostly off-road, so I got the Recon tires. The problem I ran into is this is a very weird and uncommon rim size, so there's not many tires you can get out there. There are some, you gotta do some looking around, but your easiest thing is just going to be to hit up Jeff from P Sports and buy tires from him. That's what I did. The next thing that you're going to deal with, working from the bottom up, is your brakes. So on the back and the front, you have disc brakes. I haven't actually used these brakes in a few months because you can't really see, or maybe you can, but there's no brake pads in there. Those brakes fall out very easily. I saw a lot of people saying that, and then it happened to me, just taking the back tire off and changing flats, and one of the times I put it on I didn't do it perfect and they must have slipped out, so it's something I gotta get fixed, but I've just been downshifting and using the front brake. Hey, what's up? We're at the front brake. The front brake is pretty great. Not gonna lie, I haven't really had any problems with it. What I don't really like is the way that these cables come up. This one right here is for the speedometer, but it never stays in there, as you can see. And this one's pretty much the same story, so you just gotta make sure that you got them where you need them. Make sure all your bolts are super duper tight, especially down here. I probably need to check those and tighten them again. I didn't put my reflectors on, as you can see. I just thought it looked better without them. Another thing that I had to do is I had to put washers on here. I don't know if you can tell, but I actually had to put a few washers right there. Because if you don't, if you don't put washers there, your front fender will just wobble all over the place, so you gotta tighten it up a little bit, okay? Something I'm gonna tell you guys about the Brozz, if you're watching this video deciding if you wanna get the bike, it's a freaking great bike, especially for $2,000. If you don't like working on bikes, or you're not willing to work on it, then don't get it, because it's a bike that you have to work on. But if you're willing to work on it, it's pretty good. Alright, let's carry on. We have a terrible kickstand. This kickstand oftentimes honestly falls down on me. I don't know if I need to put a stronger spring on it or what exactly I need to do, but the kind of riding I do, there's a few times where I've kind of felt it or seen it flop down and then had to, you know, kick it back up. Another thing you'll notice, I don't have my rubber inserts in here. I recommend taking them out because they're just slippery, especially if they get wet or if they get oil on them somehow. I don't know how that would happen. Just kidding, it's happened to me twice. It makes your boot just slip right off, so you definitely want to pop those out. The next thing you'll notice down here is this shifter. See how it folds in? That's really great for if you dump the bike on this side, instead of breaking or being strong and damaging this, it'll just fold back super nice, and the whole thing is stronger. The other one I completely bent and mangled and pretty much had it to the point where it was unusable, and I just get one that fits a Honda. Pretty much all parts on this bike, if you don't know what to get, just get something that fits a Honda, and for the most part you'll be fine. Sorry if it's a little dark in here. It's kind of hard dealing with how bright it is outside. Pretty dusty, dirty down here. P Sports. Other than that, I haven't really done much or had any issues in this region. I didn't jet my bike or do anything to it. I have just ran it the way it came from the factory, and I've had great luck with it. It's bone stock right now outside of this chain, which brings me to the next thing. You'll notice right now, look how loose my chain is. I need to tighten it before I ride again because that's extremely loose. That's looser than you want it to be. And look, I don't really have a lot more space on here. So basically what's going on there is I bought 130 link chain and you really need a 128. So I'm gonna end up moving the tire back again and I'll be able to ride a little more, but ultimately I need to get another chain because I'm gonna outstretch it. I need to learn how to remove 2 links. So I don't know. If you guys are watching, maybe you know. So let me know if it's easy to just remove links and if that's what I should do. It's a nice heavy duty chain, so I don't hate it. All right, so as you see here on this passenger peg, I still have an insert in there, which, you know, I could pop out if I want them to get better grip. I actually have ridden with my wife on the back a few times and it's phenomenal. This is actually one of the best bikes for a passenger because it has a super wide back seat and a surprisingly wide back tire. That back tire is quite a bit wider than the back tire on the KLX over there, and it makes a pretty big difference. And then it has, obviously, we haven't gotten to it yet, but the handlebars. So it basically gives your passenger a lot to hang on to, plus the cushiony seat. My wife actually really likes riding on this bike, and it's one of the things that kind of sets this apart from like the dirt bike, but you know, we'll get to that stuff later. The other things going on over here is I did notice this cracked. Now, the reason this is cracked is the same reason this is cracked. This has just been staying on, honestly, so I'm just leaving it alone. But basically, I had a lot of electric problems with this bike, and I don't know if something finally burnt itself out or if I legit had 2 bad batteries in a row. I can put a link below, but I went to Batteries Plus and I found another battery right away that fits in this bike. I had to jam it a little bit, but it works great, and I haven't been having a problem. But basically, I had a short somewhere. It ruined the battery that came with the bike. I got my replacement battery, and I eventually started having the same problem again, and so I figured there's still something wrong with the bike. So when I went to fix it, sorry for the long story, I replaced the battery a 3rd time to find that battery had a crack in it. And ever since, it's just been fine. So maybe it was just bad batteries in a row. Who knows? The next thing, broken, cracked. It's not a big deal. My Kickstarter, from dealing with those battery issues, I wanted to ride during that time anyways, so essentially I would just roll start the bike. Well, I ultimately roll started it. What you want to do is roll start it because it's easier to roll start versus kickstarting. My Kickstarter is not, it's broken off now because I overused it, but it even bent the attachment point. So if I wanted a Kickstarter, it would have to be replaced. But what I will tell you guys is this bike is really hard to kickstart. It's kind of funny that they put a kickstart on it. You have to kick the crap out of it to the point where when it comes to like energy consumed, if it is any possibility to roll start it, it's gonna be better than kickstarting the Brozz, trust me. The next thing is my battle wound. So this is where I cracked my engine. I dropped it in the desert and literally dropped it on a rock. It cracked my engine. I used the 5-minute JB weld, and that was probably 500 miles ago, and it is holding perfectly strong. It is great. Super great repair. Really happy with that. Grips out on this side. I think that covers about it over here. Haven't had many issues here. Up at the headlight, I did have an issue where I had to go in and get the bulb out of here because basically the plug on the back of the bulb melted and the plastic dripped down until the light wouldn't work anymore. I went in and cleared everything out, and it's been fine ever since. I put new grips on. That's just a really cheap upgrade, and it's just totally worth doing for 10 or 12 bucks. Another thing that someone pointed out to me, and they're totally right about, is these are backwards. You'll notice everyone's are. You would need to unassemble them and switch them so the DOT is on the bottom, so that they would both be like that, but facing the other way. And then they would probably look and operate much better. The biggest upgrade you guys can do that I recommend to absolutely everyone, and I'm sorry it's so bright, I have changing conditions here and I'm trying my best. Handlebars. These Pro Taper handlebars are amazing. If you guys saw my other videos, I actually bent my handlebars in half. These ones are super strong. You need this handlebar to be able to support the entire weight of the bike if you tip it. So the stock ones won't do that. You absolutely have to upgrade them. And this is cheap. This was like, 20 bucks or something. As you can see, almost at 1,700 miles. It's all been good. I still haven't fixed my fuel gauge yet, but I have a new float for it. Gear shifter and everything, super great. You got your security there if you want to lock it up on the good old Brozz. You guys really need to go around a lot of the bolts on this bike, and I mean, you can Loctite it, or I even use lock washers on a lot of them, but these two especially, those fell out on me a few times with the stock ones. And then also, these bolts here you really want to crank on, and then these bolts down here are the two that you undo on the bottom of your seat to pull your seat off if you ever need to do that. Oh yeah, I got one more thing down here. I forgot I haven't even repaired it yet. So I have new pins in here. I kept breaking these. I've broken like 6 of them, and you can see there's a double nut right here because it's a super ghetto Home Depot fix. So I need to pull this back tire off and fix that, because what happens is these are shear pins, and I didn't really understand that. So I kept breaking them, and I figured out the reason is because you need to make sure you're using these little lines, and when you're tightening your chain, make sure you tighten it perfectly straight on both sides, because if you don't, the wear won't be even and these shear pins will break to protect your sprocket. And that's what kept happening to me. So once I made sure my chain was, at the right tension and even on both sides, I stopped having that problem. But these shear pins are also pretty tough to find, but they're out there. But just know that I realized if you're breaking them, it's probably because you're tightening your chain wrong. These rims, the rims all suck. I wish I could replace them, but it's really, I just don't know how to replace, the hub. And I don't know if I'd have to respoke it, or I don't really know. That's another thing that I really want to do on this bike as far as upgrades go. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you're, considering buying this bike, I actually do highly recommend it. And that's even with, riding the Kawasaki, that's a KLX 230 over there. And I'm going to definitely make some head-to-head videos because they're just completely different bikes. And I am very shocked. I'm very shocked. I like them both a lot. They both have their strengths, but they have very different price points and very different uses. So, yeah. I appreciate you guys all watching. I have some really awesome helmet camera footage video of riding I've been working on. So if you want to see more of that, make sure you're subscribed. And when I start getting some members here, I'm going to release some more long ride videos. So until next time, thank you all for watching. Peace.